Hi. Uh, just wanted to capture a few thoughts. I just watched the movie Platoon for maybe the 30th, 40th time in my life. And I'm, maybe not that often, but I'm 40 years old, and this movie still affects me like a few other movies. My dad was in Vietnam, and he made it back, but a lot of guys didn't, of course. But after that, he died when I was pretty young. I was 6 years old, and part of me wanting to understand my loss and my lack of knowledge of him, and part of my attempt to fill the hole that was left when he died was to try to understand what he went through, and to try to understand what it was like to be in war, knowing that he'd been there later. And as a boy, when you're like 8 or 10 and war seems pretty exciting, some of us don't learn any differently and think that it's all one big game. Some of us luckily learn the lesson that movies like Platoon teach us, that it's not something you do lightly at all. In fact, you never do it. I watched the movie the first time probably when I was 13 or 14, on the verge of adolescence, and still looking for role models, still fascinated with military as an institution, still looking at all the concepts behind military life. In movies like Platoon, and especially this Platoon, that were shown to be so authentic, and I don't know, I'm rambling a bit, but it did make me realize and learn about war in a different way, and seek out more of that knowledge in a way that a lot of people didn't, of my generation. A lot of people don't even know that the Vietnam War went on until 1975. Most kids that I grew up with had no idea that they were born during the Vietnam War, and even though some of their fathers fought in there as well as mine, most of them remained ignorant, either because they were shielded from the knowledge, their dads didn't want to talk about it, they didn't want to learn, they didn't care. The encounters that I had with kids my own age were complete disbelief that I would be even interested in such a thing. Complete shock to know that they were born during the war, that just a profound ignorance of the Vietnam War. And this is the kids of that era, the kids of the men and women of that era. Think about now. So much time has gone by. We're now engaged in fucking Afghanistan. We're engaged in Iraq. Two completely, in my opinion, unnecessary wars. For me, who sought out the knowledge that a movie like Platoon has to offer, who sought out a greater understanding of what it means to go to war, who thought it through, who fought my own attraction with violence, and to understand that we still haven't learned the lessons. Even after all this fucking time, we still do not know that we should not engage in war at all. It baffles me. I watched the special features as well, where Captain Dale Dye, who is the military and technical advisor and one of the actors in the movie, is going through his role in the movie and line by line analyzing and commenting on the movie, which I hadn't seen before. And you can still hear it in his voice, and you can see it when he was acting in the movie and when he was actually making the movie. And they talk about how both he and Oliver Stone himself would go through essentially flashbacks, however you care to characterize it. It was a powerful thing, and it did serve its purpose. And for a while, maybe there was a period of time where people did remember, and this movie did heal things. But then, so it came out in 1986. Within 25 years of this movie coming out, we're engaged in September 11th happens in 2011. Wait, shit. 2001. So within about 15 years of Platoon coming out, we're suddenly engaged in 2 more wars that we didn't need to be in. And now, 2012, guess what? We're still over there. And we've already seen the war movies come from Iraq. A couple have touched on Afghanistan, not really anyone has stood out as a formative movie of that whole Afghanistan experience, but a few good ones have come out of Iraq. Mostly documentaries. It will take time for a movie maker of Oliver Stone's capabilities to address these subjects and to deal with the wars that we have today. That'll take some time. One other thing I wanted to record, and I realize this is rambling, but it's hard to do this off the cuff. When Clint Eastwood did Flags of Our Fathers, he followed it up with the movie that recorded the Japanese side of the engagements on Iwo Jima and Wake Island and others in the Pacific, and he recorded the story of their soldiers in a fair way. He might have actually approached, what they might have felt when they were there. To my knowledge, nobody's ever done that with the soldiers that fought against us in the Vietnam War. And nobody's ever showed a really good, there's been documentaries and shit, but it's rare. To see the war through their eyes would be a lesson to most Americans, because I think we still don't understand why we were there. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in Afghanistan, we wouldn't be in Iraq. If Americans had truly learned the lesson of Vietnam, that shit wouldn't have happened the way it did. And maybe it would be useful to do a movie through the Vietnamese eyes and the Vietnamese soldiers, both the irregulars and the North Vietnamese troops, regular troops, and to really tell their story in an effective way from their view. It needs to be done, in my opinion. I don't think many Americans would be open to it, but it needs to be done. I think that movies like this capture things in a way that bring it home in a way that even a documentary can't do, because a documentary has distance, a documentary has time. A movie like Platoon, or for those of the World War II generation, Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, that whole miniseries on HBO, those put you in it in a way that we would all agree is much more effective than a documentary. And to actually see the Vietnam War as told by our opponents in a way that is just as accurate and just as meaningful to them would be a great leap for most Americans. Most of us would never understand it without it. And, you know, historians know, people who really study the time period know how they felt, and I'm sure there's resources out there, but it would take somebody of the caliber of Oliver Stone or Clint Eastwood to bring it together and to do it. And I would think that probably it would have to be a veteran from their side. It would have to be, or somebody, or the son of such a veteran who, or daughter, who's since come to America, who can understand both cultures and understand how to make it in a way that we understand their culture. Somebody who can bridge it for us. Short of that, I don't know how it would be done well. But I've never heard of anything. And the reason I get emotional is because we're still dealing with the effects of it. The effects of war never go away. We're still dealing with the effects of the fucking Civil War. I mean, maybe now enough time has gone by that the Revolutionary War, we can, you know, truly forgive the British because we won. The Civil War, those wounds, some of those wounds and scars are still around in unforeseen, unexpected ways. Korean War, all of them take generations and generations for those scars to fade. Yeah. We're not done with the wars yet that we're in now. I hope we will be. I don't even. You know, this is rough. I understand. I might edit it, whatever, but it's tough to record. Thanks for listening.